but the solution that the voices gave him was that only through human sacrifice could he save California.
Oh.
Which is fucked. I mean, I couldn't even imagine being in his position. I mean, what that voice would feel like. There's a video on YouTube, though, right? Which you can watch, which sort of gives you a vibe of what it would be like for someone with schizophrenia. I don't know what it's titled or anything, but if you...
I think you just type in how to live with schizophrenia.
It will probably come up. If anyone's interested in seeing that, go on YouTube and have a look. It's sort of...
Oh, no, it's like, I think it's called schizophrenia simulation or something.
It's like a first-person point of view for bits of it, and then it goes into other bits, and it just shows you, like... We did an exercise in work about this as well, and it was very interesting, where we sort of did our own simulation of schizophrenia, where we would have to... I think I told you about this, where I would have to talk to, like, you, for example, the person in front of me.
Yeah.
But then all the time while I was talking, I had to have someone with, like, a little funnel in my ear, and they were talking and saying this script of random things in my head. So it was like I had to focus on a conversation with you, but dealing with all these little, like, whispers and things in my ear. And it was really weird. There was like the script was like, they think you're boring. Trumpet. Everything's going dark. She's boring. It's like really spooky stuff like that.
That's what that simulation's like, right?
Yeah.
As well.
It must be terrifying for the people involved. But yeah, we probably went over that a little bit too long. But yeah, if anyone's interested, check that out. It's very informative.
Yeah.
By the way, before you did mention about San Francisco being quite the place to be, maybe, for earthquakes. If you're into earthquakes, that's probably basically because a lot of them happen. Now, there was a few significances that good old Herbie found within his own birth date, April 18th. Apparently, April 18th was the anniversary of the 1906 San Francisco earthquake. He found that to be particularly significant in his quote-unquote calling, I guess.
That is weird, though.
I don't know. Maybe it's not. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think he probably knew that somewhere in the back of his mind. You know, where like you pick up information, you don't really realize you've really picked it up. Like when that time I told you, I thought for a while I wrote the song Year 3000, but I didn't. Clearly, all that had happened was that I had heard the song once, but not really listened to it. I went home and I had wrote this song, and everyone was like, "That sounds like Year fucking 3000." And I was like, "No, it's my own thing. It's not." But it 100% was Year 3000. It wasn't called Year 3000, my song, but it was like literally same melody, same chords and everything. It was crazy. Little tidbit of my life. Herbert went for a drive one night when he spotted a homeless man along a quiet stretch of road. He pulled over and lifted the hood of his car and pretended to have car trouble. So he was like, my car's broke down. The old man very kindly walked over and offered his assistance, which almost immediately Herbert bludgeoned him to death with a baseball bat. So this is the first. Oh my God! This is the first murder that we're going through. Herbert would claim that the victim was Jonah from the Bible, and that he had sent a telepathic message telling him to pick him up and throw him over the boat, and to kill him so that others would be saved. Fucked, right?
Oh.
Telepathic messages. He's saying happen. It's really weird because... and again, this Jonah thing, I think, I can't remember this is the same particular thing, but I remember when I went to, and I always thought this was a bit odd. And again, I always say that religion in itself is probably an innately good thing. Gives people belief and hope, and gives a nice little comfort blanket for things, and explains a lot of things that otherwise, you probably would drive yourself crazy thinking about. But and this is when I think it becomes a bit of an issue, because I went to like this Pentecostal youth club back in the day, just because I needed friends, and they were very friendly, and they had free sweets, I think it was. It was very nice. Made some good friends there. But one of the conversations that I had with one of the guys there, because I was a little bit older than most of the other people there, he was telling me about his son who was part of the youth club, and he was telling me about this story about from the Bible. I can't remember the names, but like there's a guy from the Bible who gets told by God to sacrifice his own son, and like he goes to do it. It's like a test, it's like a test sort of thing. But then like God turns around and like says, "Oh, don't bother at it," whatever, like it's cool, we're cool, you've proved it. And I asked him the question, I said, if you heard God talking to you and telling you to do that, would you do that for your own son? And without a split second of thought, he said, yes, of course. And I was like, what the fuck?
No,
because
it's messed.
No, because okay, regardless of what you believe or not, if you start hearing voices to tell you to do things, don't. It just messed me up, because I thought, what is to stop that guy's brain one day from just snapping, and maybe he starts to hear these imaginary voices, and he does do that.
Yeah,
should I have said something about that? Maybe. No, because I was in the church full of people who probably would have said, "Yes, we all would kill ourselves." Yes, yeah.
It's a bit of an odd one. That, to be fair.
But that's the dark side of religion, right? When it crosses over with this sort of shit. So yeah, unfortunately, because the guy was homeless, like we've mentioned before in some other stories, no one really paid much attention when his body was found.
Yeah.
I think it probably wasn't even mentioned too much in the papers or anything. It just sort of went unknown.
Such a shame.
It is. But again, when we look at the stories we talk about, there's a lot of that sort of thing going on. Homeless people, vagrants and things. The voices congratulated Herbert on his kill. But it wasn't enough. According to them, he needed to kill more. Another night, Herbert picked up a young hitchhiker in Santa Cruz named Mary Guilfoy and stabbed her to death. He even took time to slice her body open and pull out her organs. Just to note, it's the first and only time which he will do something as gruesome and grisly as that. And the reasoning for it was because he was also... I'm not really going through, because this is quite a lengthy thing, I'm not really going through all the ins and outs of things, but he also like studies art for a bit and stuff like that, and he does a few little jobs and things that I've not really mentioned, but the one that is significant is the fact that he did want to be an artist at some point. And his mum gave him a book of Michelangelo.
Okay.
And in this book of Michelangelo, because what Michelangelo used to do was to get those pictures and the drawings of the human body so perfect, one of the things he would do is he would dissect dead bodies and to pull out their organs and to examine them so he could get his art perfect. And when Herbert's mum gave him this book on Michelangelo and he saw this section of it, she wanted him to try and fuel his anger and emotions through art, but what he got from it was, she wants me to do this, which is fucked.
That's so messed up.
I know, because for the mum as well, she was trying to do this good thing for her son and be like, here, let's try and fuel your passion for art, and maybe you can express yourself that way, which is a very sweet and caring thing to do. You can completely tell his family are very nice people. But then he goes and takes this from it. Like, of all the things you can fucking take from that book, you took the fact that,
it's horrible.
Selective reading, definitely. When Mary's body was found, no further investigation was done.
Why?
Well, the interesting thing about this particular case, Alan, is that it was mistakenly thought to be the victim of another serial killer who was operating in the area at the same time. A much more maybe prolific and well-known serial killer, maybe? Edmund Kemper, or also known as the Co-Ed Killer.
Oh, I've heard of the Co-Ed Killer before.
You have. Do you remember Mindhunters? TV show? Mindhunters?
Yeah.
Do you remember the big guy who was like the criminal in there with the glasses on? He was like the main one the guy would go over to. And
yes.
Yeah, that's him.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, so, yeah.
He's the one who was like the informator right?
Yeah, don't spoil it for people who haven't seen it.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Mindhunters on Netflix, it's a couple, maybe a year or so, 2 years old. It's a bit old now, but
quite old, yeah.
It's really, really super good. You've probably already seen it by now. If you're into true crime, you've definitely seen it. Yeah. It's really, really cool. But yeah, that's him. So this was sort of overshadowed by that, really. So with the police none the wiser to another killer being on the loose, because they just thought they were looking for the one, Herbert was free to continue his work.
Oh.
I think that's happened before in one of the other cases we talked about, right?
No, I think it's happened quite a few times in our podcast, actually.
Especially with...
when it's crossed over with another serial killer.
Especially in the 70s and like early 80s, right?
Yeah.
That's the time when there's a fucking huge... There's a lot of serial killers going on in this era. So November 2nd comes around that same year, 1972, and coincidentally for Catholics, this is All Souls Day, which is a day which, let me think if I can remember this right from my years being brought up as a Catholic. This is where you just go and pray for the Catholics who have died, essentially.
Right, okay. So it's like Memorial Day. Kind
of that, yeah. But for Catholics. So Herbert walks into St. Mary's Catholic Church, where he notices Father Henry Tomei, again, Tomei, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, in one of the confessional booths. At first, Herbert thinks that the place is empty, but he sees him in there. And what he does is he walks over to the confessional booth, bangs on the door. The priest, Henry, opens up the door to see what's going on. And Herbert pulls out his hunting knife. And while the priest is then trapped inside the confessional booth, just think of how small that area is, he just stabs him to death.
Oh my God.
In there. So the guy's fucking trapped. He can't even move. He can't even run or anything. He's inside the little box.
Fucking sucks.
The worst. Obviously, with a priest dying, it's a lot more high profile than a homeless person. The community around it was going crazy. The priest was 65 years old, and he was a hero in the French resistance movement in World War II. So it was a pretty darn tootin' big deal. Some thought that it was the work of a satanic cult. So obviously this is like the satanic panic sort of thing still going on. Civic leaders attended his funeral, and so did the police, hoping to catch a glimpse of the man dressed in black, because apparently someone said that they saw a man dressed in black leaving the church. But obviously, Herbert wasn't that kind of guy, so he just never went back. However, he did leave fingerprints at the scene, something which may come into play later on. It was also around this time that Herbert believed he had been chosen by Albert Einstein as the designated leader of his own generation. Again, it was the reason for this is because April 18th was the date of Albert Einstein's death. So he's really grasping at frickin' straws.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, Albert Einstein chose me to be a leader and protect them. No. This is just fucking right. Imagine, my mum's birthday is the same as Hitler's. Imagine if she was like this. How that could have turned out.
Fucked up.
Oh my gosh. Gee golly gosh.
World War III would have happened.
Oh no, she'd have been too sloshed and drunk. She's too much of an alcoholic to formulate a sentence, let alone a fucking platoon of soldiers to invade countries. No way. Michelle, if you're listening, hello. She's not listening. She's too drunk. So Herbert switches things up a little bit from this point. Okay. So he's been using a hunting knife for a good while. But one day he goes to kill an old friend named John Hooper. Don't ask me why. When he goes around his house, he sees 9 other people there. Obviously, he's got a knife. Not going to take on fucking 9 people with one knife. So, realizing that he needs to be better prepared in the future, he goes to buy a gun. Several guns, in fact.
Oh, fuck.
He does lie during the exam. I don't know how strict the gun laws are in America. I've seen Fahrenheit 9/11, and I've seen how Michael Moore gets that gun in the bank.
We can just go to the bank and get a gun.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that might be just in one state. I don't know how lax they are, but in this particular place, They do do a test for him, an examination, but he lies on it about a ton of shit, so that's how he gets it. I don't know. Gun laws in America, completely separate subjects. Free boots. Do what you fucking want. Strangely...
Not our forte.
No. I'm not even dipping my toe into that. Strangely, he never goes back to finish the job.